In this video, I'll be going over my ideas of what should Star Wars Battlefront be. Since Star Wars Battlefront 2 is pretty much newest and in development, anything I say in that shared can't affect their development. But if they do it bad, these are features I would like for them to include in the game, and features that I would like them to include in a sequel to the sequel. So a trequel? I don't know, but if they make a Star Wars Battlefront 3, these are some things they can consider. So, a single player galactic conquest, like in the original games, I hope they include in Battlefront 2. But basically, more unlike the original, be more simulating war on a galactic scale. So there'll be limited resources, making defending or taking key planets a priority. So much more strategizing involved than just click on a planet and go. For example, if the CIS takes Kamino, the Republic will have no new clones, and even if Kamino is recaptured, less new clones will be available than before its fall. Makes sense. And then there also can be planets that are neutral. They appear on the map, but you could invade them, but you shouldn't. And then every map should be playable, and multiplayer with split screen. And then of course multiplayer matches, pretty similar, but do allow the ability to play those without non-multiplayer by yourself. And then customization. Make it fit for each site. So the rebels will be more customizable than the Empire. The clones will have custom armor markings and hairstyles, and the Separatists will have little to no customization. And then weapons have to be purchased, and only certain weapons available for each site. For example, clone troopers do not use the E5 blaster rifle of the battle droid. And then the rebels can have access to the black market, in quotes, to different types of weapons not normally available. Then, weapons are not available in an era before they created. For example, an E11 blaster rifle cannot be used by a clone. And then also, I didn't mention here, but a campaign, a historic campaign would be good too. Or even a story campaign, but that follows it. I'm not going too much into Galactic Conquest because I mentioned it above. But these are how, I'm calling these matches, but these are the game modes. Battles. Control all the command points and capture enemy command post. You'll see what I mean down in the mechanics section. And then walkers are defend your walker or destroy the enemy walker. So you can have multiple walkers fighting each other too. I'm thinking only one side will have a walker, but each side should have one game mode where they can defend a walker and one where they can destroy a walker. As in Survivor, which would be a cooperative mission for most likely for split screen or or you get a team together. So yeah, basically that one might be the only one not even possible to do it single player. But who knows? These are my ideas that I would like them to consider in a sequel, and most of these are things I want them to consider in a sequel. And then, of course, a hunt mode, so you have a native hunt, and basically eliminate native forces or fight as natives, preventing opponents from hunting your site down. And then hero-villain hunt. Self-explanatory. Eliminate the enemy's heroes or villains within a set time. Leader Assault, which will be very similar to this game mode from Battlefront 2. You play as all the leaders, and just want as many points as possible. Also, I have here Capture the Flag, which will be a party mode again. So you capture the enemy flag and bring it back to your command post. When I created this document originally, this was probably before DICE created. I recently added it, but now all of it. So that also be things like Droid Run and Drop Zone Extraction. Those would be kind of in the Capture the Flag genre, and I think would be nice for them to include. And then space battles. I didn't put them here, but space battles would be nice, which will have slightly different, thing. Your goal is to essentially destroy the enemy's ship, make it, and force the enemy to evacuate it. mainly the command. So instead of command points and capture points, no, not capture, but command posts. So you would have the command ship. Actually, I'll talk about it more when I'm talking about the different ships. But so you would have the command ship and then the support ships. You can destroy the support ships and the command ship, but it's much harder. So, so the mechanics, maybe not necessarily mechanics, but things in the game. So, command post. Players respond. So basically, each side will have one command post that they begin with. Everything else is up for grabs. So you play all players with, and there'll be like opposite ends of the maps, and that's where players will initially spawn, right there. And vehicles will spawn, so you can jump in and out of vehicles. It will spawn here, and also as a location I'm calling a vehicle pool, which I'll talk about more later. So basically, the loss of the command post will automatically result in a defeat, and capture will be an automatic victory. So making those a priority to defend. And then command points, key areas on the map that must be controlled to win. And also you can spawn there too. So basically, there'll be like 3 or 4, at least one from no, 3 or 4 command points on each map that you need to control to win. And there'll be like also a time limit counting down to make sure matches don't go on forever. And then of course, whether or not there should be reinforcements, though, should only be available in Galactic Conquest, because that'll play into the idea that you get limited resources. While with multiplayer matches, a time limit would be used to keep things consistent. And say if you don't capture all the command points, you'll capture all the command points, but you won't win until either time runs out or you capture the enemy command post. Because that way, the enemy will all the command post. The idea is that your team always has someone to respawn, so you can take back control. That's the one problem I have with the originals, because you could still have like hundreds. You could be the only. Your team still has like plenty of reinforcements, but the enemy has all the command posts and you can't respawn. This will fix that system that, well, your command post is gone, so the game's over. You have no command points, that's fine. You can still capture them. As a control points, they'll beneficial victory, but not needed. And then medical station, which will only really be in Galactic Conquest and battles. An area where players can heal themselves. So basically, this would be an area where maybe they really can't be your weapons. You can't find any weapons here. All you can do is heal. So it takes you out of action. So really, and then of course also I talk about medical droids. Those will be more where there's on maps where there's no medical station. But I'm more inclined of having a medical station because they're medical droids. Because you could either in the original games can't buy the medical droids, and so you would essentially be able to stay in the fight forever without losing any health. Then vehicle pool, which vehicles would spawn here, and the command post. Just know this would be in a different location, so it's not all in one area, because really, so this would be more like on the side, like think of it as a diamond. You get the 2 of the points, one's your command post and one's your vehicle pool, and then the enemy has the other 2 for their respective. So you can come out in multiple directions. An idea, doesn't have to be. The medical droid scatters to the map, and this is where can be booby-trapped to take away help from everyone. Originally put to the enemy, but same with ammo droid. Replenish help, but could be booby-trapped to take ammo away rather than give. Both of them. And repair droid too, which was in the original Star Wars Battlefront, but not the Star Wars Battlefront 2 that came out a year later from the original. So no, but have that. But basically, they're essentially neutral, but they can be booby trapped to do the opposite, but they affect everyone equally, not just any side. So that would give it a more unique role, and you have to be like, so you could literally think someone, and then the enemy sneaks up behind you, you real quickly booby traps it, and while you're camping out by them, you die. Cause like in the original Star Wars Battlefront, the Revan Raw map, I often camped by I still do. I get in one of the smaller tanks, and I camp out by the, you know, sorry, the repair droid, so my tank doesn't die. It would if otherwise. So this way there'll be a way to combat against people camping by those. And then of course there are credits which can be used to purchase upgrades. So maybe new skins, new weapons that are accessible. No, you earn a credit for just playing for every match battle, but you earn 10 for every victory. And there's other ways to earn credits too. No, you get bonuses like for awards, and then each award has a set credit amount to give you. And then, of course, in Galactic Conquest, there'll be other ways to earn credits too, that will to purchase upgrades that will affect only that specific Galactic Conquest game. And then, of course, in like the campaign mode, there's some certain conflicts highlighted here. You got the Naboo Crisis, Invasion Naboo, Clone Wars, Jedi Purge, Galactic Civil War, and First Order Resistance conflict. It would be good to have some like campaigns or just specific missions focused around these events. And then you got the factions. So I include all the factions that are major players in these conflicts. You have a bunch of native factions too. So Naboo Crisis, so you have the Naboo Royal Guard, the Gungan Grand Army, and the Trade Federation. Clone Wars, the Republic, and the CIS. Jedi Purge, you have the Jedi Order and Empire / Republic. Then Civil War, the Galactic Civil War, you have these three because the transition Rebel Alliance and New Republic, I'm not sure where it is, but it's there. And then you got the First Order Resistance conflict with the New Republic there. Pretty much, and these are just affect the battle and things like that. Not too much. And then you got troop classes. So I have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, technically 6 classes. So you have the standard infantry class, which is you have soldier. Oh, it's not a standard infantry class, but yeah, it is a type of class. It's a class category. So you have soldier, trooper, and shock trooper. So the soldier would be the least or is probably the basicest, what you get first. And like your upgrades affect when you unlock the other classes. So you just get the soldier, which pretty much is gonna be the bland. You're gonna have the bland clone trooper, the bland rebel trooper, the bland that'll be the B1 battle droid, the bland stormtrooper with everything standard, and then you'll be able to upgrade to the trooper, which basically is where you can start customizing, switching weapons in now. But there'll still be some restrictions you can have, like with the standard soldier, you get 1 summer detonator and a blaster rifle. That's it. But in trooper, you get you can add a blaster pistol, and you can have 3 grenades or explosives, and it's not just a summer detonator. But shock trooper, they get they get to have the heavier blasters, the heavier weaponry, the faster repeating weaponry. So basically, they go in, they pack more of a punch, but not necessarily as much as the heavy weapons class in infantry support. So that leads me to the infantry support class. So this would be, you get as I said, the heavy weapons and the scout and the sniper. So these are more limited in how many can be on the battlefield. And that's one thing all of these will face. They'll have limits on how much of them, except for the standard infantry, how many of them can be on the battlefield at one time. So the heavy weapons class will be able to have access to rocket launchers and grenade launchers, mines, they can carry much more grenades and explosives. And the other, no, there will be pickups in the battlefield, so you can pick up a rocket launcher, but you can only have one shot with it. But the heavy weapons can fire more. The scout troop would it'll be fast mobile, lightly armed, but no, would be the benefits of the scout class would be you can get behind the enemy lines. You can it'll be you it the effects of that will it'll be more affecting your teammates in that will sorry about that. Okay. So the scout class will affect your teammates by when the scouts on the battlefield. That means their minimap will be much more detailed in seeing the enemy, even enemies who are not moving. That is what the scout class would do. And then the sniper class will be essentially you get a sniper rifle, and that's about it. The sniper rifle won't do much to it. Essentially allows you to snipe people, but you can't fight in close quarters, and it's limited ammo that may not be as easily replenished. Definitely slower rate of fire, and every time you fire it, you're more likely to be sniped by the opponent, be detected. Then you got technical support. So that's the pilot, medic, and gunner. The pilot, of course, will have benefits for vehicles. It'll slowly repair the vehicle's health. So it'll the pilot class will slowly repair the vehicle's health, whereas it's like, it'd be like one, it's like, 1% every 30 seconds. Something like that. Where it's a slow thing, but it's still. So you get a shot, you move out to the battlefield for a little bit, so you're out to play while your health replenishes slowly. Maybe 1% health every 10 seconds, or 1 health point every 10 seconds. I don't know. That's what we need to see. And then the medic will be lightly armed, but will have health and ammo dispensers to give out ammo to decide. So anyone can actually pick it up, and even the enemy. So in the current game, they have the Bacta bomb, which is essentially a grenade that releases Bacta. That would be the best. It would be the would be another thing that the medic class would have. And maybe they'll have essentially a pistol for defense, and they'll have the Bacta bomb, and then specific health and health like no health no health packs that they can leave in the battlefield, so they throw it out, and you can go and retrieve it, but you have to like press a button and just walk over it. Same with ammo. It's more than you just stand by. There should be like a function like pressing the E button on your keyboard, or I don't know what. I haven't played console games in a while, or games on the console in a while. You have to press a certain button to activate those benefits. And the gunner would have benefits on like turrets and artillery pieces on the battlefield. And also like if a tank like has a main gun like the ATTE would be beneficial. Like the gunner can slowly repair the gun's health, and maybe even speed it up. Speed up its firing rate. And then you got special forces, which I have a C type: jetpack class, commander class, and officer class. Jetpack has a jetpack. That way it's limited in who has a jetpack, so not everyone's flying around. You have the commando. So basically, the commando, you know, knows basically can have more weapons on them, similar to the heavy weapons, but the heavy weapons is going to be a slower class, though the commando class will have the same mobility as the regular infantry classes have, but be more armed like the heavy weapons class. And also will be, just a better soldier overall, but harder to access as all these special forces. And then officer class. So basically, this would be the special, like the commando, but to have some officer ability. And then the officer class, there'll be the NC or officer group. You have the NCO class, the field officer class, and the fleet officer class. So the NCO, so that's basically sergeants. So they don't have much to do, but they help motivate the sergeant team. And this is in each of and officers can actually spawn AI bots in multiplayer, but it's limited. Like the NCO, no, one AI bot that you get to command. You can spawn in the battle, it stays by you. You essentially it supports you, but like you can only spawn one per life, and then that be it's pretty much that the NCO's only ability besides make some kind of motivational thing like like rally the troops, things like that. And then of course field officer class would be the officer, so you can both field and fleet officers they can spawn, let's say, 2 bots each if per life. So you can spawn one at a time or both at once. Limiting. And the special forces officer class can also do that too. So that's limited, and the bots really just follow you around with the officer classes, says and fire on your target. So it actually benefits you, but they'll have terrible aim, but they'll just provide another target for the enemy. And they'll pretty much be the if soldier class, bland, very lightly armed, but hey, that's what you get. But the field officer has the ability to call in an artillery strike. So like, in like the background behind your base there'll be a bunch of artillery pieces that you can't use. But the field officer can go into the battle, essentially get out like a pair of binoculars and look around the battlefield, and select an area, and then the artillery pieces will fire onto that area. So an artillery strike, but the fleet officer will be able to do an orbital strike, which actually might be more powerful than a regular one. And like in every battle, there'll be like 2 small ships, like the Imperial Light Cruiser and a Corellian Corvette circulating, and those will be what's providing the orbital strike in most cases. So they'll be able to maybe go around in a circle when they're firing rather than at a standard direction. But any of those can be destroyed too, unaffected. And then heroes and events. Essentially, the leaders. You got the Jedi, Sith, all those people. I could have listed them out, I had them, but I deleted them, but you have them. And then vehicles. So scout vehicles. So these are essentially the speeder bikes, the land speeders. Fast, lightly armed, no armor. Essentially one rocket shot they're down, like 10 blaster bolts they're down, very lightly armed, no protection for the player when using them. And then air speeder. So these are things like, the snow speeders. And the TIE Striker will also fall in this category. Basically, if any kind of craft that flies through the air and is designed for that, it could be whether it hugs the ground or not, doesn't really matter, they just exist. And then of course you got the troop transport, so like so this would be the Imperial Troop Transport, the MTT, the Multi Troop Transport, the ATOT, things like that. They'll be armed, heavily armored, not lightly armed, so they'll be straightforward firing, pretty much slow burdensome, but they act as a mobile spawn point. They'll essentially be like a control point, but they don't you get 3 per let's say you 2 or 3 per battle, but you don't get any more if they're destroyed. They can't respawn like others. And then artillery. So the light artillery essentially be turrets, like the dish turret on half, or the right turret thing. Actually light turret will not the non-dish the other turret on half will actually be a medium artillery piece. Like, so maybe there's some forward protection, but you're still vulnerable to blaster shots from like the side, the back, and sniper shots. So they're not the best, but they pack more of a punch. They can essentially one shot, like an enemy will be taken down in 2 shots, and for infantry, for non-vehicles, except for the light vehicles again, which like the scout vehicles, which are purely just for zipping across the battlefield and easily crashes. And then the medium will be, light, like the light, you can't essentially destroy a vehicle in one shot. No vehicles, no turrets, all artillery can, but you're fully protected from the outside elements. It's more armored so it doesn't get destroyed as easy, and it's either a faster rate of fire or more powerful shot. Then, of course, the heavy would be, it'll be like the heavy artillery that can, like, 2 shots and a tank and heavy tanks are destroyed. And a tank can be destroyed of light, like can one shot a light tank, 2 shot a medium tank, and 3 or 4 shot a heavy tank. And the heavy ones will essentially be what the field officer has for the artillery strike. Strike. So there'll be like 1 or 2 at best playable in the game, and forcing them to be caught by artillery strikes. And then, of course, I'm in the special forces officer. I didn't mention this earlier, but be able to call in an airstrike. So basically, you'll see a bunch of like TIE fighters or X-wings or whatever flying in. They do a strafing run and fly out. That's pretty much all it is. Just each kind of different. And then, of course, you got the vehicles, the armored vehicles, light, medium, heavy. So light will be, you have the AT, the ATRT, the ATDP walkers, fast, not the best armor. One rocket can pretty much take, 1 or 2 rockets can take them out. Lightly armed, but high mobility. And then the medium, not as mobile, but heavier armored and armed, can take more shots, like 5 rockets maybe to destroy them. Destroy them rather than 1 or 2. Things like that. And heavy, these will be things like the AT-AT, the ATTE. Slow, lumbering craft that heavy armed, it takes a lot to destroy them. Now, one thing I just want to bring up here, we're talking about the AT-AT, as we see a Jedi's lightsaber can easily cut through the legs to collapse. That, I think, actually should be kept as an ability for the heroes and villains to do. They can just go shoom and just take them down, which would be an interesting mechanic to offer. Like, it takes it down, but crashes, but it can still fire its weapons too, so turning it into more of something like a turret. Kind of interesting. It'd be an interesting mechanic for them to include. Then you got starfighters, so you got the multi-purpose. So so essentially these are the standard. The TIE fighters, the X-wings, the V-19 turret starfighters, the headhunters, the vulture droids. Then you got the interceptors. So fast, maneuverable, not lightly armed, easily destroyable, but definitely quick to move around the battlefield. They'll quickly fly. They can fire circles. They're good for dogfighting. Some missiles. So multi-purpose fighters will have proton torpedoes, but instead interceptors will have missiles that work best against other starfighters. Particularly interceptors, because they can track. So things like the A-wing and the TIE interceptor. The bomber, as would essentially be fighters, they fly in and they bomb. Heavy ordnance, slow, lumbering, but armored, but not good in dogfight. And then advanced, so things like the B-wing, the First Order Special Forces TIE fighter, the ARC-170 fighter. So they gotta maybe they have real guns, they have maybe a super powerful gun, they'll Maybe they have the armor of a bomber, but the maneuverability of the interceptor. Basically anything that doesn't fit in the other three categories. Then you have transports. So you got your shuttles, you got your gunships and landing craft. So shuttles and dropships, swarms, shuttles. I mean, gunships. So shuttles. These are basically like the Lomba class shuttles or shuttles. Not the best for combat, but they'll get the job done landing troops along with the landing craft. But the landing craft can land much more than just troops. It can land tanks, essentially. And so they can come in a wide range. And then gunships and dropships. So these are the fast ships. These of the transports, they're fast. They're maybe not fast, but they're armed to the teeth and very good at fighting. Other fighting up in there. So basically that kind of stuff. So they're essentially a support, more of like a support role to the starfighters. They're like the equivalent of a troop transport. And then you have the capital ships, which I have the frigate, cruiser, and destroyer. So the frigates are small, lightly armed, but still are very useful. They're highly molten. They can move around. They move around the battlefield, and they offer support, covering specific areas. So they could essentially frigate could park itself in front of your frigate. You can have your frigate in front of your ship's hangar bay. So you can fly out of it, and so you essentially then we can't essentially just turn its auto turn so and fire on to prevent your ships from leaving. You have a defense against it essentially. And that could be something else, or even covering. They're basically the cover jobs, and you can actually. I believe you should be able to take control of all of them, but they're slow to move. Like the frigates are the most fast of them, and then you got the cruisers. So the Accommodate ships it could go in. I think cruiser, but I'm actually leaning toward destroyer, and I'll explain why later. But cruisers, like the Jedi and Imperial light cruisers, the things like that. So they're like the secondary main craft you see performing duties. They can support themselves, or they're decently armed, still, but they're not necessarily like the frigate. They're tough to destroy that kind of stuff. And destroyers, they're gonna be the big ships, the capital ships. No, these are all capital ships, but no Imperial cruisers. These are the and Venator, so Jedi cruisers. These are the ships that support. They carry the starfighters. They're the main ships. They pack a punch. They're very hard to destroy, unlike frigates and cruisers, which the main difference between the two of them is mobility and armor, like I've been saying. But let's go on to weapons. So what you have? You have blaster rifles, and then heavy and repeating blaster rifles too, and then which I didn't mention here, but blaster pistols, sniper rifles, rocket and grenade launchers, grenades and explosives, melee. So melee, you can have viper swords and lightsabers. Right, but I'm leaning toward away from the melee, and there's something like a baton. And then since you can elbow punch somebody, or slap somebody even if you so wish. And then other types of weapons that I don't fit in other categories. And then of course some things and so the melee, because rarely can you essentially just elbow somebody and they die. That's kind of sad. Like you need at least two, if not like three or four in battle in the game, so it's more realistic per se, and not a one punch kill scenario. And then, as I stated before, with the scout class, sniper rifle and limited rate of fire, as such. So the sniper rifle would be, slow rate of fire and limited, as I've been saying, and essentially that. And of course, all these have cooldowns. So, like the sniper rifle has not only does it have ammo, but cooldowns. So that's why the cooldown affects the rate of fire. So like a blaster rifle will have different ones will have different cooldowns to make some more appealing than others. There's the rates of fire. So like you can fire, like 100, like you got like, maybe it's enough to kill somebody, but you can't essentially go spraying the entire thing. And like you have ammo, but it's like you have like 500 shots before you have to reload. So you have a total like 2,000 shots if you carry 4 cartridges. And like the number of extra ammo things you carry is you upgrade to those to make him own. So forcing you to conserve ammo, but you essentially don't have to reload until like halfway through the battle. And like every time you respawn with the full amount of ammo. You don't. That way, it's essentially you're not wait. It's that way. So yeah. So you don't have a limited amount of ammo per battle. You just got a limited amount per life. But like you have the ammo dispensary stuff that it's by the medic and also the droid that will affect it. That will allow you to replenish, but not necessarily. Like it won't get like it'll give you like half a blaster clip, not a full blaster clip. Things like that. Or you'll get 1 grenade, not 10 grenades. Like, you can use and then you have to activate each droid, ammo droid, things, or ammo cache. You have to open it and collect the ammo, not necessarily just stand by it. So, like, the ammo cache should essentially be what's dropped by the medic. Or even other soldiers that die, they'll drop their ammo. But, if they don't have, but there will be, like, certain ammos for certain blasters, so you may have blaster for the E11, but you can't use you're using the E11, but you can't pick up, I'm just saying, let's say, the SE14C blaster, you can't pick up its ammo, something like that. And blaster pistols actually should be just cooldown, so let me think of a better example today. Let's go to the Clone Wars. It's like, you have the DC-15 blaster rifle, where you can't pick up ammo from a Z06 rotary cannon, so you can't, like, certain ammos won't be compatible with it, but like, for ammo droids and, like, the ammo that's given to you by the medics, that stuff is compatible, but you like only replenish your ammo like 20% or something like that. That way, same with like the health, with like the health stuff, just like health packs, which I shouldn't be saying should be the back to bombs, just to make them more unique. But like critically injured, like you have 1 health point left, and you're like when you have 1 health point left, you should essentially your character should collapse, and you can't play until you're somehow resuscitated, but you can still be killed. So that if you just manage to escape a firefight, but you have one point health, you're not playing until you get health. So you can either respawn or somebody gives you health. So essentially like a back bomb thrown on you. So essentially a back bomb would need to be thrown on you. But that wouldn't be enough. You have to be resuscitated. And only medics can do that, making them important to the battle. And then of course grenade rocket launchers, self-explanatory. Grenades, explosives, another thing. So I divided these two guys. So grenades, they either explode or impact or after a few seconds. But explosives, so they can either be remote or like mines. Like the proximity bomb in the current game. So they don't necessarily fire, not right away, but so they can lay in wait, or you can place one and you step back and then you press a button to activate it. To make it more interesting, but explosives can be destroyed, so a person sees it, they can fire the blaster on it and destroy it before approaching, but a grenade they can't. So and then it goes maps, just a lot of maps. So there you have it. What I want for Star Wars Battlefront and 2, and since I know most of this stuff probably will not get mentioned, but I do want an ammo system, but for sure I want an ammo system and a class system and a good single player content. That's the main stuff I want from Battlefront 2. And other than that, so what I've laid here is what I want for them to do in a third game. So if you're watching this, DICE and EA, consider it. You don't have to. It's your game after all. I'm just a potential consumer for you, and that. And if and I did not just be honest with all you guys. And even if that, my subscribers here on John Barry Gaming, and if Dice is and people who are not my subscribers, and if Dice is somehow watching, I did not purchase Star Wars Battlefront by Dice, the first one. The main reason why, lack of single player content, and from what I've heard, yes, there's gonna be something, and I hope it's good, because if it's terrible, I may not buy Star Wars Battlefront 2. And then I would be very also disappointed in DICE and hoping in the third installment, which they'll probably do, because why wouldn't they, that they put in single player content. Because that's the main thing I want. I want to be able to play the game without the internet. For one big reason. Sometimes you don't have internet. Not necessarily you can't afford it, but internet goes down. And then you can't play the game, or the game life cycle is over. 20 years from the future, probably you won't be able to. 20 years from now, let's say in 2040, that's over 20 years in the future. I guarantee you won't be able to play the original. You won't be able to play DICE's first Star Wars Battlefront game because nobody's playing it anymore. Because people stop playing it, and there's no single player content for you. And then of course there's also but single player content will allow the games an afterlife after the online community has shut down, which I would appreciate, because when I play a game, I don't want to I don't buy when games first out, because typically they're more expensive. So I wait like a year normally the game comes out. But in the modern gaming climate for online multiplayer games, that's half the life cycle typically, at best. And so when Battlefront 2 comes out, within, I'm saying 6 months of it coming out, the original Star Wars Battlefront is gonna be pretty much the online community will be pretty much dead overall, and so people will be like, you won't be the resale value of the game will be low, which DICE is not too concerned about because they just want to sell their games initially. But resale game, the resale game idea is pretty big, because a lot of people do buy used games. And I can understand why, game companies, they want you to buy the current game, not the old game. Understandable. But I would like to be able to play the old games and the new games. And even if there's no online community for the old games, it's nice still to have some content so you can just play. Because I never played the original Star Wars Battlefront when they were in online, when the online community was big. I just haven't figured out how to do it yet, but I can put them in my computer and just play them on here. In fact, if you've already seen me doing it once for Best Spin last week, and you'll see it again tomorrow. I have those game footages. I can play them in single player. Simple as that. So, there's it. What I want for Star Wars Battlefront 2. Oh, Star Wars Battlefront 3, more likely what I wish and hope is included in Battlefront 2. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment down below. Subscribe to my channel for future content. Check out my other channels, John Barry, and the Alternate History channel. Check me out on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. Support me on Patreon. Check out my website. Links are in the description down below. Have a good day, a good night, wherever you are, play video games.